Hey, you. You're finally awake.
The Sega Mega Drive was home to some of the most iconic games of the 16-bit era, but not every masterpiece made it out of Japan. Today we're diving deep into 7 Mega Drive titles that were originally released only in Japan. Forgotten gems, technical marvels, and bold experiments that pushed the Sega's 16-bit console to the limits. Now this is just 7 examples that I've found, but if there are ones that I've missed, please let them know in the comments, and if you have played these ones, please let me know what you think. Before we get into this list, if you really think I deserve it, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and we're on the way to 6,000 subscribers. If you want to hear more of me, Retro Wars is a weekly podcast where this week we're looking at Gunstar's Heroes for the Sega Mega Drive, and we've also got a $1 a month Patreon where you can join the Smut Squad on Discord, make comments for the show, and get your own additional show. Right, let's get into it, shall we? 7 Mega Drive games that were originally only available in Japan. Golden Axe 3. Golden Axe 3 was the third and final installment of Sega's once beloved side-scrolling beat-em-up franchise, but unlike its predecessors, it never received a wide release outside Japan. Launched in 1993, Golden Axe 3 was seen as an attempt to revitalise the series, but its quiet release exclusively on the Japanese Mega Drive and later through the Sega channel in North America left many international fans completely unaware of its existence for years. Its absence from store shelves in Western markets created a mystique around the game, and its reputation has only grown more complex with time. The story of Golden Axe 3 attempts to inject some fresh mythology into the franchise. The fearsome villain, Damned Hellstrike, casts an ancient curse over the land, turning heroes to stone and spreading evil across the kingdoms. In the absence of Axe Battler Tyrus Flare and Gillis Thunderhead, 4 new warriors rise: the barbarian Kane Grinder, the agile Pantherman Kronos Evil Rate, the magic-wielding Sarah Byrne, and Proud Cragger, a giant brute. Each character has a unique fighting style and magical prowess, and the quest to reclaim the Golden Axe becomes both personal and epic in scale. From a gameplay standpoint, Golden Axe 3 offers several mechanics upgrades over its predecessors. Players can perform new moves like blocking, grappling throws, uppercuts, and even team attacks in co-op mode. There are also multiple paths throughout the game, introducing a level of replayability previously unseen in the series. Despite these additions, the game is often criticised for its sluggish combat, uninspired level design, and enemy repetition. It's as if the game couldn't quite decide whether to evolve or stick with the familiar formula, leaving it in a limbo of innovation and regression. Visually, Golden Axe 3 is a mixed bag. On one hand, there are larger sprites and more intricate enemy designs. On the other hand, the colour palette just feels strangely muted, and the animations noticeably stiffer than those in Golden Axe 2. Environments ranging from haunted castles to desert fortresses lacked a distinct personality that made the original Golden Axe world feel so mythical and immersive. I love the original Golden Axe. The overall presentation feels undercooked, especially given the advancements in the graphics seen in later other Mega Drive games. Audio-wise, the game does little to elevate the action. While the early entries boasted iconic battle themes and dramatic fanfares, Golden Axe 3 music is more subdued and less memorable. Sound effects are serviceable, but they don't add any significant punch to the already lukewarm combat. The audio design reinforces the overall impression that this sequel lacked the polish and creative energy of its predecessors. In Japan, the reception to Golden Axe 3 was subdued. While the new characters and branching stages were appreciated by hardcore fans, many players felt the game was a step back, particularly in presentation and pace. Critics cited a lack of ambition and failure to compete with more dynamic titles in the beat-em-up genre, such as Streets of Rage 2, which is the GOAT. The muted enthusiasm was perhaps the final nail in the coffin for the franchise during the 16-bit era. Western fans eventually got a taste of Golden Axe 3 through the Sega channel, a dial-up game delivery service in North America, but without a full retail release, it remained largely unknown. Emulators and compilations like Sega Genesis Classics eventually introduced it to the broader audiences, leading to revaluation. Some fans appreciated its depth and additional features, while others continued to view it as a disappointment that didn't live up to the series' legacy. Retrospectively, Golden Axe 3 is described as an ambitious sequel that stumbled under the weight of its own legacy. It tried to innovate with new characters, mechanics and level paths, but lacked the visual flair, tight combat and musical soul that defined the originals. It's a fascinating case of a sequel that just didn't know what to do, whether you go forward or whether you stay with what you had. Despite its flaws, Golden Axe 3 holds a value as a cultural artifact, an obscure final chapter in a storied franchise that dared to reach for something more but never quite grasped it. For Sega nerds, it's a must-play, but for the average gamer, it remains a curious footnote in Sega's beat-em-up history. Pulseman. Pulseman is a visually dazzling, fast-paced platformer developed by none other than Game Freak, the same studio that would go on to create the Pokemon Empire. Released in 1994 exclusively to the Japanese Mega Drive, Pulseman is a pre-Pokemon passion project that combines cyberpunk style, superhero themes, and exhilarating action in one of the most technically impressive games on the platform. Its Western obscurity only adds to that cult status. The narrative is set in a not-so-distant future, While the digital world has begun to emerge with the real one, Dr. Yoshima, a brilliant scientist, creates an advanced AI and uploads it to cyberspace. But in a twist of fate, he falls in love with the AI and creates a hybrid child, Pulseman, who is half human, half program. What the absolute fuck? That's going to happen in this day and age. People are starting to fall in love with AI, so I look at it and go, this is bizarre. Who knows what the world's going to look like in 10 years' time? People are going to be falling in love with ChatGPT. I don't know, they're online waifus. So maybe this isn't a far-fetched concept. Either way, I'm going off topic. Fine, I'll get back to it. As time passes, Yoshiyama's mind becomes corrupted, obviously by a certain tube, turning into the villainous Doc Wariyama. Pulseman, blessed with incredible powers, must battle his father and malicious cyberforce to protect both the physical and virtual realms. Gameplay in Pulseman is the thrilling mix of traditional platforming and kinetic traversal. Pulseman can jump, punch, and most importantly, use electricity-based powers to move at incredible speeds. The signature move is the Volteca, which transforms Pulseman into a ball of energy that ricochets across the screen. Mastering the Volteca is key to navigating the game's more complex levels, and it lends the gameplay a unique blend of speed and energy rarely seen in platforms of the era. The level design is equally imaginative, with environments that include data streams, neon-lit cities, and glitched-out cyberspace domains. Each stage introduces new gimmicks, conveyor belts, energy fields, anti-gravity zones that complement Pulseman's moveset. There's a distinct sense of progression and escalation, both narratively and mechanically, as the game ramps up in intensity and visual flair. The animations are silky smooth, with Pulseman's moving exhibiting incredible fluidity and responsiveness. The colour palette is electric, literally, with bright blues, vivid reds, and radiant yellows pushing across the screen. Honestly, if you've got a problem with epilepsy, maybe not watch this video.
We'd better bust out our special technique.
Seizure procedure! Cullen, whatever you do, don't look directly at it.
The audio design is equally bold, featuring an energetic soundtrack that fuses rock, electronic, and J-pop elements into a cohesive whole. Every sound effect, from electric bursts to digital crashes, adds to the game's immersive, tech-driven identity. While it received solid reviews in Japan, Pulseman was ultimately a commercial underperformer. Released late in the Mega Drive's life cycle, it was buried under the weight of Sega's own Saturn transition and the looming arrival of the PlayStation. As a result, its audience was limited, and it became a hidden treasure for collectors and importers. In the West, Pulseman remained largely unknown until it appeared on the Wii Virtual Console in 2009. The re-release reintroduced the game to a new generation, many of whom were shocked to learn that Pokemon's creators had built something so stylish and experimental before their breakout hit. The game quickly gained a reputation as one of the best Mega Drive titles that never left Japan. Today, Pulseman is recognised as a cult classic, often mentioned in the same breath as titles like Ristar and Gunstar's Heroes for its visual flair and inventive mechanics. It represents the untapped potential of developers unafraid to take creative risks, and remains one of the most uniquely expressive titles on Sega's 16-bit machine. The legacy of Pulseman also lives on in Game Freak's later work. The Volteca attack would actually inspire Pikachu's Volt Tackle move in the Pokemon franchise. For fans of both retro gaming and Pokemon history, Pulseman is a brilliant and essential experience. Langressa II. Langressa II is one of the most ambitious and tactically deep RPGs released on the Mega Drives, and yet it remained a Japanese exclusive during its original run in 1994. Developed by Sega and Korea Soft, this sequel to the cult classic Warsong, which was the only Langressa game officially released in English during the 16-bit era, expands on every aspect of its predecessor with a branching storyline, larger scale battles, and a more nuanced moral system. It's a landmark game that Western players would only come to appreciate years later through imports, fan translations, and eventually a remake. The story picks up generations after the events of the first Langressa. Players take on the role of Elwyn, a wandering swordsman drawn into a three-way conflict between the forces of light, darkness, and the Empire. As the story unfolds, players are given choices that drastically alter the trajectory of the narrative. Depending on your actions, you can align with different factions, betray former allies, and reshape the future of the world. This was a revolutionary storytelling approach from the time, and gave Langressa II unprecedented narrative flexibility. Gameplay in Langressa II centered around massive tactical battles. Each hero commands squads of troops, archers, horsemen, soldiers, and mages, with strengths and weaknesses in a rock, paper, scissors format. Positioning, terrain advantages, and resource management play crucial roles in victory. As characters level up, they gain access to new classes and abilities, providing a strong sense of progression and customization. Graphically, the game is clean and detailed. Battlefields are colourful and diverse, from dense forests and snowy peaks to war-torn castles and demon-infested ruins. The unit sprites are simple but effective, while the character portraits during dialogue scenes are rich with personality. Despite the limitations of the Mega Drive, Langressa's 2 visuals are functioning and charming. The soundtrack is another standout. The music elevates every confrontation. Whether it's a climactic boss fight or a quiet moment of reflection between allies, the score heightens the emotion and drama. Reception in Japan was overwhelmingly positive, with fans praising the strategic depth, the bold narrative choices, and the sheer replayability of the game. Unlike linear RPGs, Langressa II offered multiple endings, encouraging players to revisit the game and explore different allegiances and outcomes. However, the game was seen as too niche for Western markets at the time, and Langressa's political intrigue and moral ambiguity were a far cry from the simple good versus evil stories of the era. As a result, the game was never officially localized, because we're dumb. Eventually, Langressa II was remade as Der Langressa for the Super Famicom, which further refined the branching system. Fan translations helped bring both versions to Western audiences, where they earned newfound appreciation for these games. The game would also be reimagined decades later in Langressa 1 and 2 remade for modern platforms. Langressa's 2 influence is far-reaching. You can see its fingerprints in games like Fire Emblem Three Houses, where player choices drive the story. It helped define the tactical RPG genre in Japan, and stands as one of the Mega Drive's most sophisticated and appreciated titles. Langressa 2 isn't just a great RPG, it's a game that's ahead of its time, and one that still resonates with fans of strategy, storytelling, and deep role-playing systems. Monster World 4. Monster World 4 is one of the most vibrant and charming action-adventure games ever released for the Sega Mega Drive, and for a long time it was tragically out of reach for Western players. Developed by Westone and published by Sega in 1994, this is the final installment in the Wonder Boy Monster World series that was Japanese exclusive during the console's commercial lifespan. It brought a bold new protagonist, a rich Middle Eastern-inspired world, and redefined gameplay mechanics that distinguish it from its predecessors. The story centers around Asha, a courageous young girl who leaves her hometown to become a warrior and protect the world from emerging evil. Guided by a mysterious voice, she sets out on a pilgrimage to save 4 elemental sprites imprisoned by darkness. Along the way, she befriends a small flying creature named Pepe Le Goo. I think a certain Warner Brothers skunk is going to have a word with that one. But either way, it plays a crucial role in both the narrative and the gameplay. The game combines heartfelt storytelling with grand adventure, which is a rarity for platformers of the era. Monster World 4 introduced a fully female protagonist for the first time in the series, and her personality shines throughout the game. Asha is determined, expressive, and capable, and a bond with Pepe Le Goo adds emotional depth to the journey. The story is conveyed with subtlety, through animations, small interactions, and carefully crafted environments, making the world feel truly alive. From bustling towns to ancient temples, every location in Monster World 4 has its own identity and sense of culture. Gameplay-wise, Monster World 4 blends platforming with light RPG mechanics. Players can jump, attack, use magic, and interact with the environment, while Pepe Le Goo assists with gliding, activating switches, and reaching hidden areas. The puzzles are clever and the level design smartly escalates in complexity. Boss battles are memorable set pieces that require pattern recognition and precise timing, and every dungeon has a unique themed mechanical twist. Graphically, Monster World 4 is one of the most beautiful games on the Mega Drive. It boasts detailed sprite work, expressive character animations, and lush backgrounds filled with colour and life. The art direction leans heavily on Arabian Nights style architecture and design, leaving an exotic magical flair. It's a feast for the eye, showcasing just how far developers had come in mastering the Mega Drive's hardware. The music complements the visuals perfectly. The soundtrack is whimsical and adventurous, with a touch of melancholy in more emotional moments. Sound effects are crisp and satisfying, making actions like sword swing and enemy hits feel actually like they make sense. Audio and visuals work in tandem to create a deeply immersive experience. At the time of release, Monster World 4 was warmly received in Japan, where fans praised its refined gameplay, strong female lead, and breathtaking presentation. However, the global gaming landscape in 1994 was shifting towards the 32-bit era, and Sega chose not to localize the title, possibly fearing it wouldn't appeal to Western audiences or align with market trends. For many years, the game remained a hidden gem, accessible only through import cartridges or emulation. Fan translations kept its legacy alive, and retro enthusiasts consistently ranked it among the best Mega Drive games that never left Japan. In 2012, Sega finally released an official English version via digital download on platforms like the PlayStation Network, Xbox Live Arcade, and Wii Virtual Console. The long overdue localization sparked new interest in the series and introduced Asha to a whole new generation of player. The game was later remade as Wonder Boy, Asha in Monster World in 2021, featuring updated 2.5D graphics and voice acting, although many fans still prefer the charm of the original. Monster World 4 is now considered the standout title in the Monster World series. It combined heartfelt storytelling, innovative design, and masterful visuals to deliver an unforgettable experience. As one of the last great games of the Mega Drive, it represents the console's swan song, a beautiful, bittersweet farewell that remained hidden in Japan for far too long. Alien Soldier. Alien Soldier is a hypernetic run-and-gun shooter developed by Treasure and released exclusively to Japan Mega Drive in 1995. Known for their work on Gunstar Heroes and Dynamite Headdy, Treasure pushed the Mega Drive's hardware to its absolute limit with Alien Soldier. Though it eventually received a limited European release, the game never launched in North America, making its original form a rare treasure for import fans. Set in a dystopian future, the story of Alien Soldier revolves around a genetically engineered super soldier named Epsilon Eagle. Betrayed by his comrades and nearly destroyed, Epsilon returns to exact revenge on the terrorist group Scarlet, who seeks to dominate the galaxy using parasitic life forms and cyborgs. While the narrative is abstract and delivered minimally throughout the in-game text, it lends the game a cold, almost alien atmosphere that mirrors its brutal tone. The gameplay is where Alien Soldier truly shines. Unlike traditional side-scrollers, the game emphasises boss battles over levels. In fact, there are over 26 bosses spread over 25 stages, with most levels acting as a short prelude to massive chaotic fights. Players must master complex movements, including double jump, air dashes, hovering, and a teleportation technique. You can also select from 6 different weapon types and toggle between them on the fly, adding a layer of strategy to the high-octane action. Combat is incredibly fast and demands reflexes and precision. Enemy patterns are punishing, and bosses have multiple phases with different attack styles. The game uses a unique system where Epsilon regenerates health slowly, but can also perform powerful counterattack when at full strength. This risk-reward mechanic encourages aggressive but calculated play. Visually, Alien Soldier is a technical marvel. Sprite work is incredibly detailed, animation is smooth, and the screen is often filled with explosions, bullets, and enemy effects without dropping any frames. Background range from futuristic laboratories to techno-organic wastelands, all bursting with colour and fine detail. It's a visual overload that still impresses decades later. The soundtrack is also intense and aggressive, filled with pounding beats and eerie synth melodies. Sound effects are punchy and loud, further immersing players in the chaos. The game's audio-visual design reinforces its alien, brutal tone, making every moment feel intense and unpredictable. With the Treasure President later revealing that only one programmer handled the bulk of the work. Despite this, the game was completed in time for its Japanese release, but missed its North American window due to the Mega Drive's declining popularity and the rise of 32-bit consoles. Critically, the game was praised for its ambition and depth, but criticised for its difficulty. Even seasoned gamers found its learning curve steep and found the abstract storytelling impenetrable. However, it quickly became a cult classic in Japan and Europe, where its innovative mechanics and boss-centric designs earned it a loyal following. Alien Soldier has been released on various Sega compilations and digital platforms, helping it reach broader audience. Its high difficulty remains a barrier for some, but for those willing to engage with its complex systems, it offers one of the most exhilarating experiences on the Mega Drive. Today, Alien Soldier is remembered as Treasure's ultimate technical showcase, a fever dream of speed, precision, and style. It's not just a game, but a statement of how far 16-bit technology could be pushed in the hands of true innovators. Gley Lancer. Gley Lancer is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up released exclusively in Japan for the Mega Drive in 1992. Developed by NCS Corporation and under Messiah Band, but it stands out as one of the most narratively ambitious and technically accomplished shooters on the platform. Though it remained a Japanese exclusive for years, Gley Lancer developed a strong cult following in the West, thanks to its anime-inspired storytelling and exceptional gameplay mechanics. The game opens with a rare cinematic cutscene for the genre, introducing Lucia, a teenage starfighter pilot whose father, a high-ranking officer in the Earth Federation, has been corrupted by alien forces. Determined to rescue him, Lucia hijacks the prototype Gley Lancer ship and launches into a battle against the intergalactic threat. It's a dramatic setup that adds emotional weight to the chaos of the shooting and gives the game a sense of narrative purpose seldom found in arcade-style shooters. Gameplay in Gley Lancer is all about precision and customization. What sets it apart is the unique satellite weapon system. Players can choose from 7 different formations from their movers, pods that rotate around the player's ship. These formations drastically change how the game is played, from homing attacks to fixed forward firepower, allowing players to adopt various strategies depending on their preference and skill level. It offers deep mechanical variety while maintaining tight control responsiveness. Stages in Gley Lancer are long, varied, and packed with enemy waves, mini-bosses, and environmental hazards. From asteroid fields to biological tunnels and high-speed chases through alien motherships, each level is distinct in both look and feel. Boss battles are intense multi-phase encounters that push your reflexes and strategic movement to the limit, and they often feel more climactic thanks to the well-timed musical cues and dramatic sprite scaling. Visually, Gley Lancer is a feast for the eyes. The sprite art is detailed and smooth, and there's excessive use of parallax scrolling to give the backgrounds a dynamic, layered look. Special effects like screen flashing, rotating bosses, and particle explosions show just how far Messiah understood the Mega Drive's graphical capabilities. The anime aesthetic of the protagonist and the in-game portraits gave it a unique visual identity among the more tech-heavy shooters of the era. The music is an absolute highlight here. The soundtrack features fast-paced, synth-heavy melodies that keep up with the game's breakneck speed. Each level has a distinct theme, and the music seemingly builds tension during boss battles. Sound effects are satisfying, with booming explosions and crisp laser blasts enhancing the impact of every shot. Upon release, Lancer received modest attention in Japan, where it was respected but not a breakout hit. Its limited print run and genre competition meant it was quickly overshadowed, but it slowly built a reputation among importers in the West and as a hidden gem of the Mega Drive library. Those who managed to get their hands on it were impressed by its polished and emotional storytelling. The game remained untranslated for years until fan translations made it more accessible. In 2021, Lancer finally received an official Western release with a fully localized script and modern accessibility features, such as rewind and save states, bringing its long overdue recognition to wider audiences. The release was met with praise and brought renewed interest to Messiah's catalogue. Lancer's legacy lies in its combination of cinematic presentation, heartfelt narrative, and deep gameplay customization. It stood out in a crowded field by daring to mix storytelling with bullet-dodging intensity. For shmup enthusiasts, it represents the kind of experience that elevates the genre behind reflexes and score chasing, one that's emotionally resonant as well as mechanically refined. Today, Lancer is not just a cult classic, it's a touchstone for story-driven shooters and a clear reminder that Mega Drive had more to offer than Western releases ever released. And finally, Battlemania Daijinjo. Battlemania Daijinjo, released in 1993 exclusively in Japan, is the rare kind of sequel that improves on its predecessor in every conceivable way. Developed by Vic Tokai, this follows up the original Battlemania, known as Troubleshooter in the West. What an absolute shite name, Troubleshooter. God's sake. Either way, it's a horizontal shoot-'em-up, bursting with humour, energy, and technical brilliance. Despite its quality, the game never left Japan, making it one of the most sought-after Mega Drive cartridges by collectors and shoot-'em-up fans alike. The game continues the adventures of Mania and her partner Maria, two wisecracking bounty hunters with a love for danger and destruction. This time, they're on a mission to stop an evil cult from unleashing chaos upon the world, involving everything from mad scientists to mecha monstrosities. The characters' chemistry and zany dialogue gives the game a unique anime-inspired sense of personality. Battlemania Daijinjo breaks away from traditional shooter designs in several key ways. For one, you control both Mania and Maria simultaneously, with Maria trailing behind and offering support fire. Players can change firing directions, toggle between weapons, and execute screen-clearing bomb attacks. This dual character mechanic adds layers of strategy, especially when dealing with enemies that attack from both the front and the rear. Level design in Daijinjo is nothing short of wild. One moment you're fighting through a cyberpunk city, the next you're dodging dinnerware in a haunted kitchen, or battling a boss inside a giant rolling pinball machine. Each stage is distinct not only in theme but in layout and gameplay approach. Some stages auto-scroll vertically or change direction mid-level, keeping you constantly alert and engaged. Graphically, the game is among the most technically impressive on the Mega Drive. There's near constant screen activity, explosions, animated background elements, swarms of enemies, all without noticeable slowdown. Bosses are enormous, multi-sprite behemoths with exaggerated attacks and flamboyant animations. The visual creativity rivals anything seen in more famous titles, and the exaggerated art style suits the game's comedic tone. The soundtrack is a chaotic blend of rock, synth, and high-energy melodies that match the game's frantic pace. It's one of the most dynamic soundtracks in Mega Drive library, with tracks shifting moods depending on the level's theme. Combined with crisp, punchy sound effects, the audio designs brings the world of Battlemania Daijinjo to life with flair and humour. Critically, the game received praise in Japan for its inventive mechanics, strong visual identity, and sense of humour. However, its relatively late release and niche appeal meant it was printed in very limited quantities, making it an immediate collector's item. Outside Japan, very few players even knew of its existence until years later when importers and YouTube retrospectives shined a light on its brilliance. Over time, Battlemania Daijinjo has become a cult favourite in retro gaming circles, and its scarcity and quality have earned it a near-mythic reputation. A complete physical copy can fetch astronomical prices on the second-hand market, yet its reputation rests not just on its rarity, but on the game's creativity and replayability. There's a reason why many shoot-'em-up enthusiasts place Daijinjo alongside genre giants like R-Type and Thunder Force. It's not just the gameplay, it's the attitude, the style, and the sheer joy of controlled chaos. For those lucky enough to experience it, Battlemania Daijinjo is a top-tier shooter that refuses to take itself seriously, yet delivers an experience that is seriously unforgettable. And that's it. 7 games that were originally only released in Japan. What do you think? Do you think there's ones I need to talk about? And if you played these games, let me know what you think. As I said at the beginning of the episode, if you really think I've deserved this, please hit that like and subscribe button for more content. I'll see you all again in 3 days for another video. My name's been Danny. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.